Good morning. It is Monday, January 6th. Welcome to Leadership Tips and Ideas and Concepts for the month of January. So today I thought I would talk a little bit about conflict. And conflict kind of gets people feeling a little tense. It's a little messy. It's not something that we often enjoy. But everybody has experienced it and everybody will experience it. It's not something that we can get through life without, unfortunately. So if you think about it, when you were growing up as a child, you had conflict, I'm sure, with siblings, with friends, with your parents, with teachers maybe. And then as you grew older, it was, more friend conflict, maybe job conflict, somebody in a store or a customer service setting that you just didn't agree with, and so conflict happens, right? It is everywhere. So the trick to it, though, is how we react to the conflict, not necessarily the conflict itself. We may not be able to totally eliminate conflict. There's some areas where we can decrease it or eliminate it, but we're not going to totally get rid of conflict in all areas of our life. It's just going to happen. It's just going to come up. So the key here really is, again, your reaction to that conflict. So one of the things I thought would be interesting to talk about today, as we look at what's going on out in the world, there's some large conflict going on, not just, with our own little society, but globally. We've got a lot going on right now, and it raises the hackles for a lot of people. Conflict, years ago, I used to teach classes and I used to call it conflict resolution. And over the years, I've totally changed how I call my training and my classes, because do we ever really totally resolve conflicts? Sometimes, yes, but oftentimes there's still an undercurrent. So I tend to refer to it as conflict transformation. And my goal is to get people to think differently about conflict. Again, it has kind of this bad, messy feeling, but what can happen is some amazing opportunities and amazing changes can come out of conflict, again, depending on how you react to it. So conflict transformation is just a whole different way to look at it. We're transforming it, our own view of it, and perhaps the whole situation, so that it feels better, it feels different, it feels like something we can manage and handle and keep our stress levels down around it. So big pieces of conflict, in my experience working as a mediator and working with leaders, communication is always the core underneath. And we talk about communication. I've talked a little bit about it already. I'll do some more training around communication and listening, and those are skills that I work with a lot of businesses and a lot of executives and leaders around their communication style, because sometimes that's the simple answer is how we've communicated or what we've communicated, and our body language around that communication. I think I addressed that when we talked about emotional intelligence. So looking really at our reaction to conflict and taking a different perspective on how is this helping me? Is this something that I can get through, and what can I do differently? What is my role in this conflict? Those types of questions. So really digging into it a little bit differently than in the past, where we tend to be really reactive around conflict. So anyway, I'm just going to leave you with that today. I'm not going to dig into a whole conflict training, but think differently about conflict in your life. Look at areas where maybe you're having some sticking points, you'd like to make some changes, and think about how can you transform your own reaction, your own emotions around it, and perhaps the situation itself, so that it feels better. So with that, have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.